Let's do it. Yes, it's that time of the week, time for GarageBand Weekly here on Studio Live today. Let's kick it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to GarageBand Weekly for yet another week here on Studio Live today. My name's Pete. If it's your first time here, my goal on this channel is to help you create, record, and release your best music. And one of the platforms that I love using, I know many of you love using, is GarageBand. And guess what? We got a brand new sound pack. No, wait, that's not right. We got 8, count them, 8 brand new sound packs, these ones here. We also got 2 remix sessions, which is that one and that one. So we got a lot to talk about here today. And I jinxed it last week. I came on the show and said on episode 84, I'm like, it's a bit of a slow news week. In fact, Apple really haven't done anything for a while, have they? It's been a really, really slow time in the world of Apple. And then guess what? Boom, a couple of days later, what do? They release this upon the world. So we will be focusing pretty heavily on this as well. It's going to be most of our news and most of our content here today is going to be talking about these new packs. I've then got a couple of additional videos where I'll be going into a bit more detail on the actual remix sessions, because as well as these packs, just like the one you heard there from Tom Misch, we've also got the Dua Lipa remix session and a Lady Gaga remix session. And because of copyright claims and YouTube related stuff, I can't really show you them in much detail in this video. So we're going to do 2 separate videos. So this one can remain the regular GarageBand Weekly and we won't run into any trouble with copyright claims and videos being blocked or anything. And then we're just going to roll the dice and see if we actually do use the Lady Gaga and the Dua Lipa packs, what's going to happen there. So I'm going to be the experimental monkey here so that you can find out what happens if you do go ahead and use those. But let's crack on, shall we, and actually get into the detail. Now, I better grab my notes here. I'm just going to jump in here and make sure that all my notes are up to date. And we'll get into the what's going on. So, the basic news here is that we have brand new sound packs here in GarageBand iOS. Now, these are iOS only. Let me just remove that banner so that you can see what's going on. These are iOS only. They're not available on Mac or on Logic on Mac, but they are available on your iPhone or your iPad. To access them, you just go to your sound library here in GarageBand iOS. You jump down here to the Artist and Producers section, tap the See All button there, and boom, you're going to be right into all of these. To download each one, you just tap it, and then you can hit the Get button. It'll download it there. Want to take a bit of a listen to what it sounds like? Let's take a listen to this Mark Litteri one. Oh yeah, yeah girl. Yeah, we got a bit of funk on there. So there's a lot of cool sounds in here. Each of these artists and producers have got their own sort of flavor and their own feel. So instead of just getting one sort of pack this time around, you're getting a whole bunch of different sorts of packs. So, more has got to be better, yeah? Sure, we'll go with that. Now, I know a lot of folks are a bit sad here because they're like, where's our metal pack? Where's our rock pack? Where's our folk pack? Where's our country pack? Yes, a lot of this stuff is based on electronic music. So I'm going to put that right up there on Front Street, that there's a lot of electronic here. But there's some funk in here, there's some pads in here, there's some cool beats and some cool things that you're going to be able to incorporate in any type of music that you're creating. And we're going to go through and look at those in a bit of detail here today. So that's your 8 sound packs. You come in here, you download them. What do you get in them? Well, if you come down here in each one, you get the Apple loops. So each one's got several hundred Apple loops, which is pretty darn cool. You get drum kits and beat sequencer kits, so you can play around with them. Keyboard patches and live loops grid. And one in particular, the Mark Ronson one here, actually has some audio recorder patches. So this is the first time we've seen new audio recorder patches on a pack in quite a long time. So that's a bit cool. We're going to be able to change around some of the audio recorder, because for the longest time we haven't had anything new in that space. Now that's the 8 packs. You might be wondering, what are these other 2 and how do they differ? Well, these are actually projects. So if we tap on, say, the Lady Gaga, we tap on this one, you'll notice here there's no Get button here. Well, there is when you first get it, but what it does is it downloads a project into your GarageBand iOS folder. So when we tap the Show button here, what we're going to do is close and reveal this current project. It's going to open up and it's going to pop us out here. because what it will do is when you get those, it will just throw the Lady Gaga and the Dua Lipa, the live loops grid-based projects right here in your page. And there they are. Now, if you're here on the replay, there'll be a link down below to the video I'm about to do. I know, a bit weird in Inception here. I'm about to do a video about the Lady Gaga and the Dua Lipa remix grids. However, in this one, I'm just going to tell you that they exist and you can use these just like you use live loops. And we'll show you the live loops with one of the other packs in a moment. But keep that in mind that that is what that does. Now, before you go recording, the one thing I will say is you want to make yourself a duplicate copy. I don't quite know how it would work if you wanted to re-download these. So all I would do is before you play around with these at all, tap and hold and duplicate. And you got that version 2. Now jump into your version 2 and start playing with that one if you want to learn and explore it. And you will get this little pop-up here saying, you can't use these. This is not for you. These loops and these samples are original artist work. They are copywritten, meaning you can't use these in your own projects and your own songs. So do keep that in mind. If you're creating your own music, especially for commercial release, you can't do that. Now, some people may say, well, why would I want this then? It's actually pretty cool because you can learn how all these different loops, you can see the different grid here. You've got your vocals, your backing vocals, you've got your beats, you've got your bass, you've got your keys. You can see how songs are actually arranged and put together, and you can play around with remixing using a real song. So it's like a next level thing that you'd normally get in your live loops grid, but you've got an actual song to play around with it. So I think that's pretty darn cool. Let's jump out of that one and go back and let's get started with these because let me just check. Was there anything else that I had in my news that I wanted to talk about? No. So the new sound packs are there. The new remix sessions are there. Everything is all good to go. So what we're going to do now is dive in to actually taking a look at these. So if we jump over here, we've got, we're going to look at the sound library update. This is our featured topic for the week. So once again, if we want to use these, you can use them on your iPhone or your iPad. We'll jump over here to the iPad. Let's start up a new project, shall we? So I'm going to go here into my iCloud drive and my GarageBand for iOS. Go into my ideas folder. Let's create us a new idea, shall we? So we'll hit the create song button there and we will come in. Let's first of all look for some loops. So let's build this around some loops first of all, and we'll see what sort of loops we've got in here. If we tap on the audio recorder button here, now I'm going to turn on monitoring, so this should make sure that I can get this through my mixer here, and you can hear what I hear. Do you hear what I hear? So we're going to tap the tracks button there and come to loops. So we're going to tap on the loops button here in the top right corner. Now I'm going to go all the way out by hitting the X button here. Make sure that everything is filtered out so we've got everything here. If we filter by, in fact, I'll do this. I'll filter by and we'll just go all sound packs. So this is how it will look when you first jump into your Apple loops and you have all of these. So you know these, you got, your 60s, all the old school stuff you have in here. And the loop library is now getting so big that scrolling just from A to B is pretty darn difficult. Heap of videos here about using loops if you've never used them before, by the way. You can check those out down in the description at the GarageBand Essentials playlist. So let's jump in and show how we can filter by these new sound packs. So if we tap the filter by button here, we can go to sound packs. And what we can do is we can actually do it by our recently downloaded. It might have gone away now, actually. I think it has. When you first download these, and I showed these in the first version, you can actually do, if we turn off all, oh, no, it won't let us turn off all. We've got to actually select each one. So when you first download these, you can filter them by recently downloaded sound packs. Now, because I've downloaded these about 4 days ago, it's not there anymore. So what we need to do is actually do them by the individual pack. So let's start with this Watch the Sound pack. Now, this is the Mark Ronson one. It's apparently related to a show on Apple TV that I'm not really aware of, but apparently I need to check it out. So we'll come back out to here. Now, here's all of these ones. So these are all the ones in this particular pack. So you can see if we filter there, we are filtered by the Watch the Sound pack. You can, of course, then filter by other things like your type of loops, whether you want your audio, your software loops, your all loops, and the scale that you want these in. So do you want minor, major, neither, or both? So there's some cool options there, but we'll just leave it as is. Now, funk slap bass. I've been looking for some cool slap bass sounds. So let's, that's cool. So what we can do, just like any other loop, we preview it by tapping it. We want to bring it in, we tap and hold, and we drop it into our project like this. And now, there you go. Very cool. So we can get started with that one. We can then jump into the Apple loops here and we can start building out and adding. And look, just in this one pack, look how much stuff you've got here. You've got a whole bunch of stuff here. This looks cool. Dawn of Digital Mallets. Nice. Maybe we won't go with that one. But Diamond Jubilee Jam accents. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff. That's cool. Does that go along with our funk slap bass? Let's see if this because these are all the same pack, they should kind of sit in the same spot. And they don't. There you go. So there's something I've just learnt about these packs. Usually the packs have the same sort of things and they all sort of sit together. But this Diamond Jubilee one is not going with our funk slap bass. So we can tweak these as we can with any other loops and things. We can come in here and we can play around with this. We can take them up and down semitones to try and make them match up. And we can change the tempo and the pitch in there as well. So I'm just going to delete that one because I really like these keys. Right? Cool. Now, the one thing that I recommend here when you start building out something with loops is to change it up, because I've buried the lead on this one, and that is that all of these are royalty-free and available for your commercial releases. So if you are working on tracks, you're working on projects, and you want to use any of these loops, any of these samples, any of these sounds, you can use them in your projects. The only ones you can't use are the Lady Gaga and the Dua Lipa. But if you're using any of these, you can use them no problem at all. So what I would recommend doing, however, is changing things up, because here's the problem. It's a bit of a race to the bottom here, because if I start building a track out and I go, oh, I really like these diamond ones that I'm using. What are they? The whatever that was called. And then I say add in a disco breaking beat. Let's just add this one in there to go with it. We get something like this. If someone releases a song with just those two loops as their intro, and then they copyright it, and then I use just those two loops, guess what? Even though we're both using royalty-free content, you can get yourself into copyright hot water. So what I recommend is change it up. And the easiest way to do that is to change your tempo. So let's make this a little bit more vibrant. Let's drop it down to maybe 99, because the great one, Wayne Gretzky. And we'll change it from C. Let's so we drop it down into like a B flat. So now we're getting something like this. Oh, yeah. Something a little bit like that. So that's the sort of thing that we can do if you want to vary things up. And I highly recommend you vary things up when you're using these sort of packs. So we'll come out of there, we'll delete out, boom, delete, and we'll delete this one, just so that we've got a nice clean project there. We'll jump in and look at the other packs in just a moment, but because we've got folks who are here live, I wanted to say hello to you and hope that you are doing well. If you do have any questions, by the way, as we go through about the packs or about anything GarageBand related, just put the word question at the start of your comment and I'll try to get to any questions that you have as we go through. We're going to say good day to Mark. We've got Brad Example here. Hello to you. Wolf Light. We've got Joe Glenn. We've got Thomas Christ. We've got Gregory O'Sullivan. Hello to you. Guzzo of Oz. G'day. I hope you're doing well. Anthony Dower. Hello to Scott. Hello to Wolfstone Studio. Hello to Jalen Lay. You'll have to re-download the Lady Gaga and do a deeper project each time you want to use them. They do not stay on your device intentionally. Oh, okay. There you go. Thanks for the tip. So they get removed, do they? There you go. An extra copyright thing. There you go. I'm not sure. Yeah, hello to everyone else who's here. If I've missed you, I apologize. Sean Chandler, hello to you. Barry Glenn, hello to you. Hope you are all doing well. Once again, if you do have questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat. And yeah, start downloading the update. Just go in there and start getting these packs. There's quite a few of them, and it may take you a little while to download them all. So get there. Dan Ekberg, hello to you. Right, let's continue on with this, shall we? So that's our first pack. Now, again, if we wanted to use more loops from other packs, say we wanted to mix things up a little bit, we can again go and filter by. We can come in here to the Watch the Sound pack, and I will be exploring all these packs individually in detail. So don't worry, if you're not sure what's going on in each pack, we'll come back to them. Let's go into this Boys Noise. Now, I'm an old man, so I'm not going to pretend I know who all these producers are or that I really already vibing on all their tunes. But they seem to have some cool loops and some cool samples in here, so we're going to go with it. But just in case you're like, you mispronounced the name of that producer. Yeah, I probably did, and I'll probably do it again. So my apologies. So we'll come in here with this one. So we've filtered this by, that's right. So we've got multiple sound packs on here now. So as you tap more of these, it'll actually add them. So if you want to remove the other ones, just tap them off and they'll go away. So now we'll go with just the boys noise. I just want to keep saying boys noise for some reason. And we'll come in here and we'll play around with some of these. So let's just see, because some of these will match up with the key that the original one's in and some won't. So let's just try some of these. So that's probably not going to. So if you bring in something like this and you start mixing and matching your packs, you will have to vary the pitch of some of these loops. So if we play this now. So you really have to pick, your first melodic loop is going to dictate what loops you can then use. And you don't want too many melodic loops anyway. So let's instead use some of the additional sounds that we get up. So what about a bounce up beat? Is that going to work with it? Let's just throw it in here and find out, shall we? Not bad. We'll just maybe put that down a little bit, down in the mix there. There we go. And we've opened that one up instead. So we're not only limited to these sort of loops. If you come back in here to our loop browser, I'll see if there's any in this pack, but some have some green MIDI loops in there as well. This isn't one of them. Good one, Pete. This isn't one of them, but some others do. Now let's, what about this topper here? It's a void clap topper. Oh, it's just doing that. I like that. That's going to be a good thing to go along with this, I think. So we'll, in fact, we'll mute out this one and then just have this. Yeah. Nice. So we'll start building up with that. So if we come in here, let's filter by, I think it was the actual Mark Ronson one that had the MIDI loops in there. I showed it in my recent update video anyway, so it's not super urgent that we see it here. But no, it's not this one either. So you do have some of them that are the green MIDI loops, which means you can just edit them and change the key and change the notes a little bit easier. This one in particular doesn't have any in there. But we're not limited to just having these. There's a whole bunch more in these new packs that we have. So once again, we'll go back and we'll go to our sound library. And we'll see, we'll pick another pack and we'll look at one of its other things, right? So what about Tank Girl? I haven't played around much with this one. So what does this have in it? This has over 150 Apple loops, 4 drum and beat sequencer kits. So let's look at the drums and the beat sequencer kits from this particular pack. So to go to those, we come over here and we go to drums. Let's go beat sequencer to start with, and we'll build out a beat sequencer track with this. So down at the bottom left here, we'll tap on that one, and this time we do have a recently downloaded that we can tap on, although it's got all of our downloads here. We can come on down here and find the packs that we're looking for. So who are we going with? We're going with Tank Girl. So Track Girl. Did I call it Tank Girl? A bit of a slip there. Wasn't that a movie from the 90s or the early noughties? So what are we looking for here? This is feeling like a lo-fi. So we'll go lo-fi feels. Yeah, that could go well with this. So if we're happy with the beat that we've got there, all we need to do to use this beat sequencer beat is to hit the record button. It's going to then play along our track and record that beat over the top. Cool. So we can just record in 4 bars because it's just going to loop out there, and then we can just grab this and then tap it and loop it. So in terms of creating beats, in terms of creating backing tracks, this is going to be pretty darn cool. There's a lot of good stuff in here in terms of sounds. It is a little bit overwhelming. I'll grant you that, because there's a heap that we have going on here, and it's going to take me a long time to explore all of this. So we'll see how we go with it. So let's just show you how we can add our own drums here as well. So if we hit the plus button, you can use these drums separately by just using them in the drum kit. So if we tap on drums there, it's going to open up. Oh, it's gone the beat sequencer again. We'll go back to our track and try that again. We'll just delete out that one. Yeah, because when you go to drums, it selects the last type of drums you did if you just tap drums. So what you need to do is go more sounds, and now we can actually just select which drum kit we want to use from which pack. So if we go back to the main categories and we go recently downloaded, we come up here, we can find, who will we go with this time? Oak Felder, let's use you. And let's go to the 2-ton pop, shall we? So for this one, there's our a kick drum and snare drum. Little hi-hat. That's a cool sound. Couple of claps. I'm just going to use this little one as a little accent here. So we'll hit record, and we'll just record a little bit of this over the top. we've just put a little bit of a subtle click behind there on this one, and we'll once again just make sure that this first 4 bars, we'll tap it and we'll loop it. So the drums that we've added, we've created our own kind of custom beat. We've got this lo-fi feels beat there, but we've added something different. And once again, I don't want to harp on this, but if you're using loops in your tracks, there's nothing wrong with loops. I think loops are cool, but make sure that you're varying them up and changing them. So we've changed the tempo, we've changed the key, and now we've actually added in some additional beats over the top. So right. So you can just build and build and to your heart's content. We'll remove this one just because we don't want too much stuff over the top here, and we've made our own little custom groove with these 5 tracks. Let's now explore another pack and another way that we can use these. So we're going to jump back out to our main screen here. Whoop, we went too far. But that's a good idea. We should save it in. Take my own advice here. So we're going to call this one the new pack track. There you go. The new pack track that I'm building out here with the new packs. So let's look at another thing. We'll go back to our browser here and let's pick another pack. Pick a pack of pee-poo. Let's pick another pack to play with here today. So we'll go to our sound library, and this time, what do we go with? Who haven't we tried? We haven't gone with Selection, which is a cool name. I wish my band was called Selection. I like it. So does Selection have our keyboard? Yes, they've got 19 delicious keyboard patches. So we'll play around with some keyboard patches now and add in our own little bit of flair to this track. So to go to these, not surprisingly, we go keyboard, we tap more sounds, and we go back to our main categories up the top here. Again, we can go recently downloaded, and who do we want to go with? Which pack? It was Selection. And here's a selection of patches. Sorry, I'll let myself out. Here's a selection of patches. So I want something that's going to be a bit of a bass sound. What's a 90s solid synth bass going to sound like? We'll tap on that one, give it a quick audition. That's probably a little bit too, we need more of a doom kind of bass. So what about a breathless synth bass? Maybe. Yeah, let's try this one. So we'll just, we'll select that one. I got to remember what key we're in. Was it B flat now? Yeah, we're in B flat. So I think we'll just play along here. Do. So yeah, I think it's like a D. We'll bring it up a bit, shall we? And then a B. So we'll go D, F, B flat. I think that's the progression. Can be hard with these loops to work out what the progression is, but we'll just play along with this and we'll hit record. We'll just play a D here. Now, did that work? Here's the cool thing though, we can solo these down. So because we want to play along with this electric piano, we can solo these 2 tracks alone and yeah, not bad. I don't kind of like the background of that, but here's the cool thing. Once you've created a track here, we can actually change this up. So all we need to do is go back to our keys here and say we didn't want that one. We wanted to try something else. Let's go this solid soul electric bass. Is this one? Yeah, that's probably going to be a better bass to use, right? So now if we come back out here, we can come to this. That's a bit better, right? So we'll just have that sitting nicely underneath there, and we can redo that by just looping it and build out our 8-bar loop. And so now when we bring this back into our mix with all of the everything, we get this. Nice. And I think that the one thing that's not really working for me now is this disco break beat. So we'll move that out there. So you can go more or less. You can increase it, you can up your game, or you can drop it down, and you're still going to get a good sound there. So sometimes you add something in, and then you'll be like, no, actually, I don't want that. I want something different, and that's where you go with that. I don't have my microphone handy. That's a shame. I was going to say I should record in a vocal part here, but I might have to borrow some vocals from somewhere else, or just bring in another audio recorder track and in fact we'll do that. So we'll use it with a loop. So let's find another loop. I wonder if there's any loop that's kind of like a Vox or something. We'll just sort of vary things up here now because we want to move on to the audio recorder presets that we have here. And because I don't have a microphone to do a bit of a yeah girl, we're going to actually just use a loop here. So once again, we're going to filter by all loops here. Well, not all loops. We're going to go to sound packs. And let's get all of these new ones in here, shall we? So we're gonna have to go through and find them. So Mark, we got Oakfelder, we got Selection, we got Track Girl, Take a Day Trip, Tom Mish. There we go. That's all of them. So there's our 8 packs, and now this will give us everything in these 8 packs. And let's search for, is there some sort of vocal patch that we can use in here? All right, we got a few vocals here. All right, what have we got? We got Feelin' the Flow vocal. That's cool. Is that going to work with what we've got here? It might not be the right pitch. Let's drag it in and experiment, right? Oh. It almost works, right? How cool is that? It almost aligns with this track. But for the sake of what we're going to do here, what I'll do is I'll remove the electric piano because without that, to make a cool sort of intro for something. So there's some other cool vocals in here. There's not a heap in the way of vocal stuff, but it could be called other things. What about this one? Oh, it's doing nothing. Oh! Vocal magic ad-lib? What's the ad-lib going to be? Is it going to be a yeah girl? No, it's nothing. Come on, where are you? Okay, I don't mind that. Let's bring that one in here as well, just so we've got a couple of things to play around with. So in fact, we could probably put that after this bit here, the ad-lib. So we'll unloop it there. Whoop, take the loop off settings. No, looping. All right, looping off. Sometimes you have to do that, by the way. If anything's ever looped and you don't want it looped, sometimes it's really hard to like get the looping off. And what you need to do is come in here to settings and turn looping on and then turn it back off again. So just an additional tip there for you. But I reckon this might work well if this ad-lib comes in here right before the next one. Let's just play with it, shall we? Kinda. a little bit, right? Anyway, I wanted to put these in here to show you the audio recorder presets. Because if we go back again and we go back to our sound library that we have here and go to our packs, one of these packs, which is the Watch the Sound one, has these here. It has more than 30 audio recorder patches. So as well as our Apple loops that we've looked at, as well as our drums and beat sequences we've looked at, as well as our keyboard patches, we've also got 30 audio recorder patches, which are super cool. So we'll come back out here. We'll go down on that one. We'll come back to our track. We'll just select a keyboard just to bring us back to our track view. There we go. So what we can actually do with these is if you're creating a new track from scratch, so if I had my microphone here, I could hit plus, I could come across to the microphone, hit more sounds, and you're probably familiar with the fact that we already have different drum sounds, keyboards, acoustic guitar. The one you're probably most familiar with would be vocals, so we can actually select all the different vocal sounds that we have here from our lead vocals, radio ready, punchy presence. We've used these before here on the channel a heap. You've got your producer effects and you've got your fun effects, which indeed have your clean. So if you ever want to record clean audio into GarageBand, go to Fun and select Clean. Good, clean, fun. Thank you, GarageBand, right? So we've got our clean there. So we'll just delete these out because we don't need them now. What I'm actually going to do is we can grab this little male vocal bit here, this Feelin' the Flow vocal that does this. Yeah. And we can actually add some effects to this. So if we go to the plugins and EQ up in the top left here, this will open this up. Now, this loop may already have some effects on there. Turns out it doesn't. It doesn't really have anything on here at all. It's got the effect EQ. But if we hit this microphone button here, it'll drop us out to this section. So yeah, it's clean. It's just as what we showed there before. It's a clean vocal, and we can now change it. So if we tap on this clean, we can actually go and we can Scroll up to the top. There we go. Over on the left here, we can scroll to the top. Let's go recently downloaded, the Watch the Sound, and look at all these cool vocal presets that we have here. We've got a bunch of distorted sounds. We've got a bunch of reverb sounds. We've got some tuned voice there, and we've got some basic vocals here. So let's try a couple of these now, shall we? Here, we'll start with the vocal one. What's the box talking going to do? There you go. So what's this added? It's added a noise gate, a compressor. It's added some stomp boxes, some tape delay, some track reverb. So we've got a lot going on here. Let's hit play. Cool, right? That squelchy, cool stereo sort of flangey kind of effect. Pretty darn nice, yeah. So let's tap on this one again. We'll go up. Let's try one of the tuned voices one. What about what should we go with? A synthetic designer voice? Yeah. So this time we've got the vocoder effect on here. We've got a compressor and we've got some track reverb. So let's play with this one, shall we? Nice. And it's subtly put in a few new effects here. This vocoder effect, I'm pretty sure, someone can correct me, but I'm pretty sure we don't have that on anything else because I've never seen these dials before. This FM intensity I've never seen. So if we play. Pretty cool, yeah? And obviously when you use this on real vocals, it'll do a whole bunch of other things, but they're just using this for our test purposes here. Now, if you tune one of these in, I've showed this before, but if you get the preset sounding just the way you want it, see how it's got a dot next to it? We can actually save this in. So if we come over here and we go save, we can save this as Synthetic Designer Voice PJ, or whatever you want to call it. Let's change it to my name. And there you go. So there's my particular lead vocal patch. That's the one that I use whenever I'm recording lead vocals. That's customized for me. And these are all stored here under your custom over on the left. Let's go back to these again. We'll try one of the reverb ones, shall we? So what's one that looks interesting? What about some long vibrating strings? That sounds cool. So we'll hit that one. We'll hit done. Let's just see what it's added over here in our plugins and EQ. Compressor. This time we've got a space designer. So we've got a spring reverb here. And again, we don't have this on anything else. See what they've done here? They've secretly snuck in a bunch of additional plugins, but you can only get to them by using this. So they're not here. Unless they are, let's find out. This is where Pete finds out that they're actually just been added in here and you can use them. No. So there's our standard 10 plugins that we have on GarageBand Effects, and we'll just check audio unit extensions. Nothing new over here. No. So these are like the pitch control. These are a bit like the auto-tune function that we have here in GarageBand. You can only access it by selecting the lead vocal or the radio ready vocals. You can only get to these by using these particular presets. So pretty cool. Some hidden plugins that you get there. And Tom's Christ saying those are the FX from Logic hidden in GarageBand. There you go. So that's what they've done. They've grabbed the Logic effects and thrown them here in GarageBand, meaning that they probably could just give them to us, but they don't because GarageBand's free and Logic's paid. They want you to buy GarageBand, right? Well, guess what? You can sneak them in there now. Pretty cool. Let's hit play on this one now. Nice. Yeah, okay. That's a really nice spring reverb in there. That would sound good on some guitar, some lead guitar licks and some other things as well. Yeah, and of course we can use this for any of our others. So if we wanted to come back here, for instance, in fact, we'll try this. We'll bring back in this electric piano because this was a cool sound, yeah. But this would actually benefit from having a little more of that reverb. So what if we wanted to add that? Well, no problem. We can use this. Any blue track you get, you can come out here. Instead of it being clean, we can make it whatever we want to. So once again, we'll go back to our recently downloaded. We'll jump in here and let's try one of these other reverb ones. What if we wanted something like the swirly spring on this one? Boom. There we go. Again, we've got that spring on there. Or what about, yeah, there. See this one, again, another new one. The Metallic Rings has this tank preset here, which again, I'm assuming is another one. This is the Space Designer again. So you can control how much of that goes in here. So let's put this now on this keyboard sound. So can you hear how that kind of gives it that additional space there? Again, just because it's called the Space Designer. So we can play around with that and add in these new effects by just changing it up there on any blue track, you can use these on, and you just can't use them on, even though you can use plugins and EQ here on your green tracks, you'd have to merge them down and stick them over on a audio track to change the preset. bit of a pain in the butt, but it's just because GarageBand didn't want to give it to you. They didn't want to put them just here. They wanted to just put them in the presets. So there's your vocal. Oh, there was one that we didn't try, wasn't there? Let's come back to here. We'll do it on this one this time. So this is our little ad lib here that does this. By the way, I was not today years old, but I was definitely 20 years old when I found out what an ad lib actually was. Because someone asked me, they're like, "Oh, dude, how do I record ad libs over my rap track?" And I'm like, to me, ad lib is a sound card that you stuck in your PC back in the 90s. So I'm not with you, but yeah, Pete and his understanding of rap and hip hop is minimal, slim to none, I would say. So let's come back to this track and we will hit play here. All right, so we're going to change this one up again. So we're going to use one of these new ones. We'll hit the little microphone button there. We'll tap on the clean. And once again, we'll go to the top here. Whoop, recently downloaded. Let's do a distortion one, shall we? So what have we got here? We've got Electric Sheep. Come on, man. Who's not going to put the Electric Sheep on? So this time we've got a lo-fi plug here. So what is this giving us? It's the Bit Crusher. So let's just use Bit Crusher. So there's nothing new with this one. But let's just see what it's doing, shall we? Oh, okay. That's brought in a lot of distortion there. What if we wanted something a little bit more subtle, shall we? What about sliced cones? This has got a lot of drive in it. This is probably not going to be subtle. No. Far from subtle. So, yeah, something like that, we'd probably want to go more with one of our tune voices ones. So let's go with like just a standard change the pitch here. It's just got the vocal transformer and a tape delay on here. Yep. That's cool. I like what it did there. Oh, Mark got a good idea here. Put Electric Sheep on goats. Right. Hello, Acer. Did I see Acer sneak in there? Acer BT. The Space Designer is used in the Taiko drums as one of the default effects. There you go. Very cool. Acer knows his way around GarageBand. Acer is visually impaired. Tell me, Acer, if you can leave a comment here, how is GarageBand going in terms of accessibility these days? Because you've said in the past there's been some things that you wish that they would change. Most of it's pretty good, but there's some things, especially around the audio unit effects and things that are hard to use. So if you can give us an update, because again, I don't know the behind the scenes for folks using things like VoiceOver to control GarageBand. All right, let's play this whole track now and see how much we've ruined it, shall we? Come on, I think that's all right. What do you think? I kind of dig it. Just quietly. Alrighty. So we're going to move on from there because we've got some more things to look at. But we'll leave our track. We'll jump back out here and we'll save it in there. So we've got our new pack track, and we'll jump back over to here. Hello. Yes, I wanted to use that as my background here today because I figured, hey, that's pretty cool. Does anyone have any questions about this? Please drop them here in the chat. Samuel Culvig says, does anyone know any auto-tune apps that work live? And there is indeed, as Thomas Christ says, there is actually an auto-tune AUV3 app. So you can actually, there's a bunch of different auto-tunes and tuning apps available for iOS. The built-in one, the default one here in GarageBand works when you're singing live. It'll record in, but it adds about a quarter of a second of latency, which is not good because it's really hard to sing along with a track when you're having that latency. But so what you tend to have to do is turn off the enhanced tuning, record in, turn it back on. It just means that it's not really good for live purposes, but there is legitimately the official auto-tune app. In fact, if I go to the App Store here on my iPad, let's see if we can find it. And we'll see how many $bucks it's going to set you back if you wanted to check out the auto-tune app. I think I might have even bought it at some stage. I can't remember. Auto rap, no. Auto tune. There's a bunch of them here, and it's bringing up different ones, so it's going to be hard to find which one it actually is. Sorry, there's like the Veloco Studio. Jade Star's probably covered a lot of these vocal recording apps in the past. Okay. That wasn't anything happening here. That is what I feared, which is that they're actually going to be digging up outside my house here. So I didn't think it would be quite that loud. I thought we'd be okay, but they're actually digging up the gas pipes, we'll see how we go with this. I didn't want to pre-warn you because I'm like, we'll just see how we go with this. But that scared the crud out of me, so I apologise if that scared the crud out of you. But that is what's going on here today, where they're replacing the gas pipes in my street, and apparently they've just hitting mine. I thought we might sneak the show in, but they're just hitting my pipes here now. Hitting my pipes. There you go. Scott says, I've got the Audio Kit Auto Tune app. Haven't used it, but not sure if it's limited or still available. So the Audio Kit Auto Tune. Let's search this one up, shall we? Audio Kit Auto Tune. Can I find it? No. No. Search around. I'm sure other folks have got suggestions here for those that can do that. That would be a cool sample. Maybe I need to get out there and start sampling the sounds of the drills and the equipment and the machinery out there. I can get some cool samples for a future song. That could be cool. Righty. Let's see if we've got any other questions here. How many vocal effects are there? In total, there's quite a few. In the new pack, if we open my track back up and we jump back over here, and the plus side, at least it's the gas, not the power, right? Could be a lot harder to do this without any power. But if we go to our vocal presets, I think there were 30 in the new pack. So we've already got all of your original ones. So you've got a bunch here in drums and keys and guitars and vox. So you've got probably about 30 already. But just in this Watch the Sound pack, I haven't counted them. Should we count them real quick? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, it's too hard. I reckon it's about 40, 35 to 40 that you've got there in total. So there's a heap there to use and a lot to play around with. Sion also says that Antares also has Auto-Tune Mobile. Haven't tested it, but seemed really cool. So there's some options there. Maybe that's something that we can look into in the future. That we can find to do some auto-tune testing. Check out some auto-tune apps. We've got a comment from Jalen says, as a person with a disability, I can tell you personally that if you use VoiceOver and GarageBand simultaneously, the cut, copy, and paste function in the settings menu don't work if that's enabled. See, that's a bugger because there's a lot of stuff you want to do within that settings menu. So that could be, that's good information and good to know there. Thomas Christ has got the link there too, to the Auto-Tune mobile app. Let's see if I can actually find it here, because surely if I just search auto, problem is when you search a term like this, everyone puts it in their tags and descriptions. So when you're trying to find the actual version of something, it's impossible to find. And I can't really bring over links from the chat here over to my page. I still can't find it. That's a pain in the butt. I've definitely seen it before, and it's definitely in here. So follow that. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. It's $7.99 here in Australian dollar bucks, so it's probably about a $4.99 app if you're someone who's using it in the US, and it looks like that. It's kind of ugly looking, just personally. It doesn't look amazing, but hey. It's look, auto-tunes kind of look like that. the Antares one has been looked like that forever. So you just got your notes there, it lines it up, and you dial in how much of it you want, and you go with it. So maybe play around with that one if you're looking for some more auto-tuning goodness in your life. Lones Wolf Echo says we need a Pete pack. I know, right? When are Apple going to talk to me and ask me to do my own custom pack? It would just be all guitars. They don't want it because it's all going to be just guitar packs. Barry Smith says, when you come vocal effect, what can you get? The mold is a GarageBand or Cubase 3. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what the question is there. If you're comparing GarageBand and Cubase 3, Cubase 3 has more things. It has more effects. It has slightly more flexibility, but it's definitely way behind now in terms of all this stuff. In terms of sounds and loops and plugins and effects and things, now that we've got these 8 brand new packs, I mean, yeah, there's so much to play with. You could play for days and you wouldn't run out of things to play around with here. Asa, thank you for the update. Not much has changed. AUV3 plugins are still not accessible. With iOS 15, VoiceOver's group navigation is useful to move around the interface quickly. Well, that's good. But yeah, I wish they would find a way to get you AUV3 plugin access. That would be good. Yes, Gregory's got a good point. If you're using Cubasis, there is a Waves auto-tune within Cubasis. Let's show you where that is, because I do actually own that one. Haven't played with it much yet because I spent a month with Cubasis and I've needed to recover for a while because it took me a while to learn it. And see, now I've come back in here and I'm like, where do you add things in here? Under here, effects. So yeah, there is an effect here. If we go in here, the Waves effects here, there is this one, the Waves Tune RT, which is this effect here that is a purchasable. It's an add-on. I think it's about $10. Someone can correct me on that if I'm wrong, but yeah, you can add the waves plugin there as well if you're using some Cubases. Better close that one out because that's gonna. If you're ever having issues with your audio, by the way, and it says another app's using your audio, close out all the other apps because that is something that can really impact you. So if we come up here, you want to be able to. So even the Photos app and the App Store, just close everything because it's amazing what can try and control and take over your audio. So close out on stuff like that, and it'll keep you safe. Question from Guzzo for another show. Oh, can you show us how to use iPad or Logic Remote app with the Mac Mini GarageBand, or is that a Jade Shah step? Can you show us how to use the iPad Logic Remote app? So you might have seen I did a video on that, a very quick overview video on how to get it set up, my sort of first look. And yes, I am planning a longer deep dive into it, probably on next week's show. I'm pretty sure it'll be a feature topic on next week's show, Guzzo. So hold the phone on that one. And Asa says, I just got a chance to test GB on an iPad Pro and found out that you get 12 chord strips. Yes, the 12-inch iPad Pros have a couple of advantages. One is that you get 12 chord strips and you also get 12 frets on your guitar instead of 10. And the other is that when you're recording on a 12-inch device, you get to see your track view as well as the actual audio view. So I'll tell you what I mean. So when I'm recording here on my 11-inch iPad Pro, whenever I'm in a device like this, it'll only show this one. And when I go back out to here, it's showing me the track view. But what you get is on a bigger device is you get a hybrid view where half of it is your audio record a bit and the other half is the tracks. And you can actually see the tracks recording underneath and also adjust the audio presets at the same time. So that makes it super cool if you want that. Don't forget that there's the workaround hack here that if you're recording, say a vocal here, so say I'm grabbing this and I want to record a vocal on one track with this one, what I can do is if you've got a 2-channel interface, just set up a second track, change this down here to channel 2 so that you're using both inputs, come back here to your track view, set these both to record, and now look what happens when I hit record. Instead of it jumping away, see how it actually just stays here and it records both of those. Now, even if you're only recording on track 1, just set up track 2 as a dummy track. Once you finish recording, delete that track and you're golden. So instead of if you only have one track and you hit record, it does this, yeah? It goes to this view. I don't want to record in this view. This view sucks. So if you want to record your tracks and have track view enabled, then select that second track. You will need a 2-channel interface installed. So your Scarlett 2R2, your Steinberg UR22 or UR12, iRig Pro Duo, anything you're using that has 2 separate distinct inputs, not a stereo input like a mixer, but anything that's got 2 individually controllable inputs, you can do that. Question from Evan Heaven. Cool name. How do you connect a MIDI keyboard or electric guitar to your phone in GarageBand? Probably won't answer that here except to say that if you go down to the description, there's my GarageBand FAQ, there's the GarageBand Essentials playlist, or if you just go to YouTube and type Pete Johns Connect MIDI or Pete Johns Connect Guitar. I've got a heap of videos, probably 10 different videos showing you different ways, MIDI keyboards, older keyboards, new USB keyboards, guitars, how to use a very cheap iRig, how to use something like the iRig Pro IO, which is a higher quality guitar interface. Basically, you need a bit of kit, though. So you'll need a piece of gear to do it. So you'll need the Lightning to USB 3 adapter is the key piece of kit. So you can actually connect up your USB device to your Lightning port. And then you'll probably need something like an audio interface or, of course, a MIDI keyboard to get that done. But yeah, plenty of options there for you. Audible Headache, and Nembrini is a great sound. Yeah, Nembrini makes some great plugins if you're looking for good plugins for your GarageBand tracks. Nembrini do some good free stuff and plenty of good paid stuff too. Pete Soundpack has a nice ring to it. Very cool. Yuli says, I have a hard time mixing vocals and drums to pop without clipping. Yeah, that's a tough one to do. And without going into detail, because we've got 12 minutes left here, so and I've got other shows to do here today, as I mentioned. But the key is to record the input gain lower. So to record them in lower, and then compression is your friend. So instead of turning up the volume, use a compressor and then just lightly compress your sound, and then you'll actually get it to pop. The problem and the biggest mistake I see people make is they're like, that vocal's not cutting through, and they turn up either the output gain or even worse, they turn up the input gain. And then you're going to get popping and clipping on your input channel, and that can cause your problems. flip it around and instead go ahead and record at a lower volume. I know it'll feel wrong at the time, but trust me on this one, record at a lower volume. It's in there as digital, you'll have less noise, and then you can turn it up. But instead of just pumping your volume, use a compressor, because what that does is instead of just pushing the volume up to the point where it crosses over 0 dB and peaks, it'll actually put a brick wall at the top of that. So it'll pull up your quieter parts and pull down your louder parts so that you've got a level performance and you're not clipping. So that's my 1 minute version of that. Of that one. And Ace is saying, cut, copy, and paste worked properly last I checked. Well, there you go. So maybe Asa and Jalen, you can share some advice there. And I do need to dive more into accessibility in GarageBand, because I know that there's a heap of folks. People say, why do you talk so much when you're doing shows? Why don't you just demonstrate? There's a heap of people in this community that are visually impaired and have said to me, it really helps whenever I'm doing something that I'm describing what I'm doing as well as showing what I'm doing. So that's why this show is always very much audio as well as video. I'm not just pressing buttons and not telling you what I'm pressing. So if you ever wondered, why does Pete talk so much? Ask my wife, why does Pete talk so much? She'd probably like to know too. Question from DJ Normal Norman. I'm switching to Logic Pro. What's the first synth I should get? First. I make dance music. So I don't use synths very much. I've heard the Audio Kit stuff is super cool. So the Synth 1 and the Synth D1, is it, from Audio Kit? That's what a lot of people, whenever I ask Doug Woods or folks that know about synths, they say Audio Kit and other things as well. But someone can answer that, because I'm not synth guy. So there you go. There's some answers for you there as well. Let's scroll on down. I'll see if we've got any other questions here before we continue on. Feisty Heisty, how do I find auto-tuning GarageBand for a song I've previously recorded vocals for? This one we can do. So if we come back out here to our track, so let's say that this vocal here, instead of it being a sample, was our recorded vocal. It's really simple. All you need to do is change the preset. So exactly as we did before, is tap on the microphone button here, and then if we're using this one here, just change it to a preset. So go to vocals, change it to a preset like lead vocals that has the enhanced tuning on there. So if we hit done on that one, we turn that one on, we can now actually use the pitch control on here. And then if you want to, you can come in here and just delete off these and re-add in whatever other plugins you want. But if you start with the base of either lead vocals or radio ready, they're the two vocal presets that have the enhanced tuning on there. So if you ever record something and then go, gee, I wish I could just tweak that tuning on that one part of that one vocal, you can do that. And you can even set up two different tracks, have one with auto-tune and one without, and then just copy and paste the bits that need a little help into track 2. That way you're not auto-tuning your whole lot. You don't end up sounding like T-Pain. I watched a documentary with T-Pain lately. He's actually a really cool dude, and he's actually a very talented singer. He just uses that as his effect. So I'm going to stop ragging on T-Pain and using him as my example of people doing the wrong thing. We'll scroll down here. How do you make... we've answered that one about the popping of the drums and bass, so hopefully that helped you out. When does iOS 15 come out? That's a good question. I'm not sure of the exact release date. They're at the beta release, and I think they're close. So I think, when did they say it was coming out? I think they just said summer of 2021. So I guess we're coming towards the end of summer, so hopefully soon. Audible's Headache says I have almost all of the Nembrini apps. Yeah, they're very, very cool. And yes, Thomas Christ, you're right. It is the lead vocals is the easiest one to start. Sometime this fall, probably October, if the path is any indicator. So yeah, iOS 15, maybe it is. Maybe I was making that up and it wasn't the end of summer. Maybe it is fall. It was actually, because I made the joke that we call it autumn. So I don't actually know what fall is. Synthmaster, there you go. That's what other people have said. I knew there was something else I was forgetting there for Synthmaster 1, and it's on all platforms, which is very cool indeed. Have I nearly caught up? Are GarageBand drums automatically panned? Yes, they are. So GarageBand drums are indeed automatically panned. So if we grab, let's just grab another beat sequencer track here, shall we? So we'll go to our drums, and we'll go to beat sequencer, and you can hear it more with your acoustic drums. So your electric kits, not so much. Sometimes they're all straight up the middle, because there are a lot of like 808s and a lot of just 808s and snares down the middle. But if you use especially an acoustic kit, so if we use, say, what should we go with? It doesn't matter, Pete. Why are you taking so long? Let's just use the Sunset kit here, and we'll turn our volume up so you can hear it. What you'll hear there is you've got your toms and your cymbals if you're listening in stereo, are up in your top left and your top right. So it will actually pan your drums automatically, which isn't always what you want. If you want to convert it to mono, I did a video recently about how to convert from stereo to mono. You can either use, if you want a free option, you can use the Voice Record 7 app to simply export out a WAV file, convert it to mono, import it back in, or you can use Audio Share, which does the same thing. You can just send your file, and Audio Share is probably easier. Plus, just buy Audio Share. Honestly, there's not many apps that I say, just go ahead and buy this. But that is one of the ones that I think you need in your kit. So Audio Share, you can use the Wi-Fi drive to transfer files, you can convert files, you can do a whole bunch, you can record audio directly in using Audio Share. So all that's very cool. Thomas says that Doug at the Sound Test Room has some videos on Synthmaster 2. Looks amazing, but I don't have it yet. Top tip for me today. Always do. That's all right. No problem. No problem at all. If you want natural drums, then use Lumbeat apps. There you go. We've got tips. We've got tips coming out the wazoo here today. So thank you all for providing those tips. We're 5 minutes to the end of the show here, and then I've got another show coming straight up. So we are going to finish. We're a bit off the script here today because we had so many questions and I wanted to get to as many of those as possible. But the final thing I'll mention here, and this will lead us into the next show that we're doing immediately following this, is that the other thing that we have here that we mentioned very briefly is this one here, the sound library and the remix sessions. So we showed these at the very start, but I'll be showing these in 2 separate videos. We'll be actually playing with them and showing you how we can remix using live loops here. But if we come here, as we showed at the start, instead of actually downloading and then using these as a live loops, it's its own project. So what we need to do is close out of that project, and it's going to take us back to our browser here, and they'll put them right here. So there's the Dua Lipa and the Lady Gaga, and as we come in here, we can play around with these with the live loops. Now, I didn't show you the live loops in these new sound packs, so let's do that super duper quickly. We'll go back, we'll go out of here. We'll go back into our new pack track. So what we can actually do, we can use Live Loops grids over the top of this one. So we can either start a brand new project in Live Loops grid, or we can switch to the grid mode up here. And, oops, no, that's our beat sequencer. That's not switching to grid mode. That's what it looks like though. But if we come here and we tap live loops, we can actually go into these. And if you scroll across, you'll see that we've got these new custom ones. So let's go, who haven't we played around with yet? Mark Lettieri hasn't had a lot of love. So let's come in here and check out this one. So then we can use these, and you've got, you know, some nice guitar ones here for the Mark Lettieri one. And again, we'll look at these a lot more when we look at the actual remix sessions. But like all live loops, you can do them a whole column at a time, as we did there. You can do individual ones and mix and match. And you can change things up. Now, with live loops, as with everything else, don't just record in order and then release it as your song. Someone else has probably already done that, and that's a one-way ticket to copyright heck. So do vary things up. Maybe use a combination of live loops and your original stuff, which you can actually do. So I don't think this is going to match anything, but let's just hit record and see if we can record just even this, like... That worked beautifully, actually. Who knew? Who knew that this would work imperfectly? So yeah, and this is the good thing about loops, is that they'll usually semi-align with what you need there. So we'll come back in here. DJ Norman says, top tip, record crackling can warm up a track nicely. Exactly, a little bit of crackling. Yeah. Are we getting some crackling and popping here? I hope not. I'm having a few issues with my sound at the moment, but I thought it was my headphones, but it could not be. So yeah, so you can record in live loops, and then there you go. It just puts it here as a track. And see, this is why I was getting confused here, because this is the switch between live loops and track mode. So you can do that, and you can actually record in to your track-based project by using live loops mode. Pretty cool, yeah. I like it. I like it a lot. So that is the new packs and the new everythings that we have here in GarageBand iOS. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into GarageBand and the new sound packs here. 8 new sound packs, 2 new remix sessions. And once again, if you're here live, I'm going to take a 2-minute break, and then we'll be live again looking at the Lady Gaga pack and then we're going to take another quick break and then look at the Dua Lipa pack. So you're getting a three for here today because we wanted to keep things kosher around the copyright stuff. So we're gonna be rolling the dice with this one in a moment. So thank you all for being here. I didn't even talk about it, but if you are in the market for some GarageBand information, head over to studiolivetoday.com/courses. You can pick up my GarageBand Beginner's Guide for just $10. You'll get yourself 5 hours of custom GarageBand content, and you'll be supporting me and the channel and the work that we do here. Jump on over now. You'll see the notification will pop up in just a moment, and you can jump over to the next show. We'll be starting probably 2 or 3 minutes late, but we'll be looking at the Lady Gaga remix session. I'll see you then. Remember, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, keep creating, and I'll see you real soon.